Good morning. My name is Hayward Dykes. I'll be the special magistrate handling the agenda today. I'm going to call to order the code compliance hearing for May 14th, 2025 at 10 a.m. At this time, if you can, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can be seated. If you have a cell phone, please either turn it off or put it on vibrate. I've reviewed the minutes and have signed those. Are there any announcements regarding the agenda that I need to be aware of? At this time, anyone who plans to present testimony or evidence for any of the cases today, if you'll please stand and raise your right hand. All right. All right. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right. Thank you. All right. The first case on the agenda is case number 2501338. The property owner is listed as Michael Jones, and the address is 147 Nimrod Circle, Niceville, Florida. Right? Are you Mr. Jones? All right. And this will be for everybody. The way we do these is when your case is called, you will sit where Mr. Jones is, and we'll allow the county to present evidence, testimony and evidence. You'll have an opportunity to question the officer if you wish. And then after that, I will allow the property owner or respondent to present testimony and evidence on what they would like. All right? So whenever you're ready.
Good morning. I'm Code Compliance Officer Georgina Hicks. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary report and presentation and testimony in reference to case number 2501338. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to Land Development Code Chapter 7. The property is located at 147 Nimrod Circle, Niceville, Florida. The property owner is Michael Jones, and the violation cited is 1.1300A for development order. Development order specifies erosion control measures must be maintained until the ground is stabilized with vegetation. Our office received a complaint from the Walton County Public Works and Parks and Recs Department stating that the house had...
Understood.
Stated that the house that had been constructed on the property adjacent to the county park had been washing out and was pushing fill onto the county park's basketball court. My initial inspection showed a newly built house that had that did not have vegetation planted around the house, and the field was washing out, creating gullies and pushing dirt onto the basketball court there at the pocket park. On 4/1 of 2025, I made contact with the property owner, Mr. Jones, and he advised that he would have someone out at the property within that week or so to repair the silt fencing, and planned on laying sod within the next week. On 4/16, I re-inspected the property, and it appeared that nothing had been done to the property to prevent the fill to washing onto the county park. I posted and mailed a notice of violation with a compliance due date of 5/13, and a notice of hearing was also posted on the property. On 4/23, I inspected the property and notated that a sprinkler system had been installed, and it appeared to be getting prepped for sod. On 4/29, Code Compliance Officer Greg Forehand inspected the property for me and notated that that there was a concrete retaining wall was being constructed on the property and without a permit. I met with the Walton County Planning Department development order inspectors at the property while I issued a stop work order. Development order inspector Kurt Rose explained to the property owner that retaining wall was not approved on his permit and that he would need it to be removed or permitted. Silt fencing would also need to be installed. On 5/6, I re-inspected the property, and the silt fencing was installed around the property. On 5/6/25, I revised the notice of violation and notice of hearing to reflect the additional violation of post-permit changes. On 5/12/2025, I re-inspected the property and the retaining wall appeared to be removed or covered up and the silt fencing had been installed. However, it begun to wear and tear in many places, and I spoke to the property owner about that and advised him that it would need to be repaired and maintained until the vegetation was stabilized. He advised he'd have the silt fence repaired immediately. On 5/12, I lifted the stop work order and satisfied the post-permit change violation in our computer system. The property is being brought before you today with one violation of 11300A for development approval violation due to the vegetation not being stabilizing, causing stormwater runoff. As of today, the property is being prepped for sod. Proper notice was given as prescribed by code. I'm requesting that the property owner be given 30 days to install the vegetation and maintain proper installation of the fencing until the vegetation is stabilized. Otherwise, the property owner will be required to pay $100 per day until compliance is achieved. I also recommend that a $112 administration fee be ordered in addition to that. Property owner is here today. We have discussed this recommendation, and that's all I have for you.
Just so I'm clear, so the issue with the retaining wall has been resolved. You lifted the stop work order, so that was eventually permitted.
It was not permitted. It was he removed the rebar, the things that had begun to be constructed. He had removed.
Okay, so he removed the basically the
rebar
violation.
Yes, he
that
did.
would have caused a violation. So that's why the stop work order. So
it was lifted. Yes.
Okay. And then, as you stated, the only thing is to get the vegetation to stabilize the ground is what we're here for.
And maintain the silt fencing or best management practices for stormwater runoff until the vegetation is stabilized.
And has a permit been closed out for the?
It has. It was given a certificate of occupancy back last year, I think.
Yeah, about a month ago, 6 weeks ago.
All right. All right. Do you have any questions for Officer Hicks?
No.
All right. And
perfectly satisfied.
all right. So, Mr. Jones, do you have any testimony or evidence you want me to consider? You heard her recommendation, 30 days to bring the property into compliance. Sounds like you're well along your way to doing that. If it's not brought into compliance within 30 days, there would be a $100 per day fine. And there's a $112 administrative fee that's imposed regardless of whether or not you bring the property into compliance. All right. Are you satisfied with that recommendation? Do you have, okay. All right. Well, at this time, I'll close the evidence portion. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of the law based on the testimony and evidence presented by Officer Hicks. I'll find that there is a violation at the property located at 147 Nimrod Circle in Niceville, Florida for 1.13.00A development approvals, that the property is located in the unincorporated area of Walton County and therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the recommendation by staff and the property owner's acceptance or approval of it, there will be a 30 days to bring the property into compliance, which would be on or before June 13th. Property is not brought into compliance on or before June 13th, a $100 per day fine will be imposed. There is also a $112 administrative fee. As I stated earlier, that will be imposed regardless of whether or not the property is brought into compliance by that date. You'll have 30 days to pay that. I don't know that you'll be able to pay it today. Probably give it a couple days to get in the system. They'll get a copy of the order at the clerk's office, and you pay that at the clerk's office. All right? Any questions, Mr. Jones?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. That concludes your case. Have a good day. All right. Our next case is CE 24-00840. The property owners are listed as Roger, Lunsford, and Joyce Senn, SENN. And the location is 64 West Clover Lane in Defuniak Springs, Florida. All right. Is anybody here for, or is Mr. Lunsford or Miss Senn or a representative for them here? All right, I don't see anybody. All right, nobody still? All right, whenever you're ready.
For the record, I'm Code Compliance Officer Darnell Bennett. I'm submitting my final summary report, presentation, and testimony in reference to case number CE-24-00840. The property the property is 64 West Clover Lane, Defuniak Springs, Florida 32433. Parcel ID is 17-3 North-20-28080. -060-0030. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and therefore subject to the Land Development Code Chapter 7 and county ordinances. The property owners are listed as Roger Lunsford and Joyce Senn. The original violations cited were 1.13.00A development approvals, 1.1309C building permits, and 5.0709C junk and or debris. The initial complaint was that people were living in sheds and RVs on the property, and that the shed was not permitted and no permits have been obtained for additions. I conducted an initial inspection on September 18th, 2024, where I observed that there was indeed an unpermitted shed and RVs on the property that were being used as permanent dwelling units. I did speak with the property owner upon this initial visit and discussed the steps that he would need to do to come into compliance. A notice of violation was posted to the property on September 20th with a compliance due date of October 22nd of 2024 and also certified mailed on September 20th of 2024. An additional notice of violation was hand delivered to the property owner on April 18th, 2025, adding the junk and debris violation to the case. Now, on March 6, 2025, the property owner did obtain the proper approvals from the planning department, thus resolving the development approval aspect of the violations, and he began the process with the building department. On April 11th of 2025, a notice of hearing was certified mailed, posted to the courthouse, and also hand delivered to him, to the property owner on April 15th. Now, to date, there has been a lot of progress, but due to processes with DEP and building departments for septic review, the property owner has not completely resolved all violations. The property owner did not bring the property into compliance within the allotted time. Proper notice was given as prescribed by code. As of my last inspection on May 13th, 2025, the property remains in non-compliance. I ask that the magistrate find that the property is in violation.
And just so I'm clear, all three of the violations are still in effect?
1.1300A, the development approvals, has been resolved because he does have approvals from planning. He just still needs the building permits, and there's still a little junk and debris left.
And have you communicated with the property owner what remaining junk and debris needs to be?
Mhm.
It looks like he had requested a dumpster, so I know that.
Yeah, actually, he got that dumpster on his own, but there was a point in time he requested one from the county, and then he ended up getting one himself.
And I didn't see anybody come in. What's staff's recommendation?
60 days to bring the property into compliance, or $100 per day fine, as well as an admin fee of $98.
And do we have a timeline, or do you have an estimated timeline on when the building permit? Do they have a complete? So they've got the development approval.
Yeah, they have everything they need from planning. He from building needed a septic inspection.
Holding them up.
Yeah, the septic inspection must go through DEP at this point, and that is what's holding him up. And I have no expectation of how long that might take him.
So you don't know, even know if it's been submitted to DEP?
Yeah, everything has been submitted,
So it's just at their point for their review?
for their review, yeah.
All right, we feel 60 days would be sufficient based on the timeline. It looks like this started back last year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. First, I'll accept into evidence Officer Bennett's packet. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I'll find that the property is located in an unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. That the testimony and evidence presented shows that there is a violation at the property, specifically 1.13.09C and 5.07.09C of the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on staff's recommendation, I will provide that the property needs to be brought into compliance within 60 days. All right, so on or before July 14th. 61 days. In the event the property is not brought into compliance on or before July 14th, that a $100 per day fine will be imposed. There's also a $98 administrative fee that will need to be paid within 30 days. Did I miss anything, Officer Bennett?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. I've
Thank
signed
you.
that order. All right, our next case is 24-01045. Property owner is listed as Alice Simmons, and the address is 3186 Rock Hill Road in Defuniak Springs, Florida. Is Miss Simmons here? Anybody on behalf of Miss Simmons? All right. I don't see anybody. Whenever you're ready, sir.
All right. For the record, my name is Uriel Baza, Walton County Code Compliance Officer. I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony in regards to case number 24-01045.
You guys aren't here for Simmons, are you? No? Those who just walked in? Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Go ahead.
Property is located at 3186 Rock Hill Road, Defuniak Springs, Florida, 32435. Parcel number is 08-1N18080000010120. Property owner is Alice Simmons. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and county ordinances. The violations cited are 2.02.00P, recreational vehicles, and 5.07.09 of outdoor storage. The complaint that we had gotten was the property owner has multiple RV campers that she is renting to tenants and allowing raw sewage to run on the ground. I did my initial inspection on January 2nd, 2025. Conducted my initial inspection at the property. As I approached the mobile home, I observed several RVs, junk and litter, and what appeared to be inoperable vehicles throughout the property, just kind of due to the condition of the vehicles at the time. I did not notice any foul smell or any evidence of raw sewage near the area. At the time of the inspection, I was not able to contact anyone after knocking on the door. At that time, I left a door hanger providing my name and phone number. The following day, I received a phone call from the property owner, Alice Simmons. I informed her for the reason of the inspection and informed her of the violations I cited at the time. I explained to Ms. Simmons the corrective actions required in the compliance deadline of February 2025. Later that day, I posted the notice of violation and mailed the notice of violation via certified mail. The notice of hearing was posted on the property on April 30th, 2025, and posted at the South Walton Courthouse on May 1st, 2025. As of today, May 14th, 2025, the property is not in compliance with the violations cited. Photos in your packet show the initial inspection and pre-hearing conditions with violations still existing. I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
That'll be accepted.
County recommendations is 30 days to seize any RV living and remove any RVs exceeding the 2 permissible, and 30 days to properly discard junk and litter and remove any inoperable unregistered vehicles from the property, and potentially, if they can, possibly screen the property with fence or vegetative buffer from public view. There's a $100 per day fine if it is not brought into compliance with the recommended time, and there's an $88 administrative fee.
All right. Going to the buffer, is that required? If
In the zoning that they're in, they're allowed to provide either a fence or a vegetative buffer to screen off from public view.
right, but that's if they decide not to move the.
Well, they will. A recommendation would be for them to do those things, but for the future, if they want, if they wanted to screen out their property from any potential violations from neighbors or anybody.
I guess my issue or question is,
Mhm.
can I require that? I mean, isn't that at their discretion if they want to do that, if they want to screen, or is there a legal requirement they must screen the property based on the activity?
Patrick, it's a discretionary. They would either have to remove the junk and debris. The screening is for that particular land use and zoning, that it is allowed to screen the property with a 6-foot privacy fence or vegetative.
Right. So I guess my thing is, even if I go forward with staff's recommendation and find that there's a violation, it's essentially they need to pick, for lack of a better term, their poison. They can either screen and resolve the issue potentially, or they can remove the junk and debris. But I don't think I can order them, you must screen it, unless you point to me somewhere in the code that says.
It doesn't say that,
okay.
sir.
I just wanted to make sure. All right. And I took it as a recommendation, but I just want to be clear, it's not a requirement. If the property owner doesn't want to do that, they have other options. All right. All right, thank you, sir. One last call. Anyone here on behalf of the Alice Simmons? All right. No? All right, at this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that based on the testimony and evidence presented, this property is located in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. That based on the evidence and testimony presented, there is a violation at the property, specifically a violation of 2.02.00P, RVs and campers, and 5.07.09A, regarding unlawful storage, junk and debris. Based on staff's recommendation, I'll find that the property must be brought into compliance within 30 days. That'll put us at June 14th, 13th. If the property is not brought into compliance on or before June 13th, a $100 per day fine will be imposed. There's also an $88 administrative fee that will be must be paid within 30 days as well. Was there any evidence there was people living, but they can only have 2 RVs based on the size of the property out there?
Yes, sir. So, there's no allowance of any kind of RV living in Walton County, but they are able to have 2 RVs on their property if they're registered under their name.
All right. Did I miss anything after Officer Baza?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. I signed that order.
Thank you.
Our next case is CE 2400956. Property owner is listed as Glenn Burkett. That address is 298 Smith Drive in Santa Rosa Beach. All right. And I know you're not Mr. Burkett, but you're Mr. Burgess. Oh, is Mr. Burkett back there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Burgess, you're going to be presenting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And then we have Officer Forehand. You
Sir.
ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, I'm Code Compliance Officer Greg Forehand. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary report, presentation, and testimony in reference to case number 24-00956. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to Land Development Code for Florida Statute, Chapter 162. The location of the parcel number is 192S Sierra 1924 090 0330, also known as 298 Smith Drive in Santa Rosa Beach, belonging to Mr. Glenn Burkett. The violation cited is for 11309F for clearing permits, and it's specific to subsection A for areas south of the Choctawhatchee Bay. Complaint was received on 10/31/24 in reference to the potential unpermitted clearing activity on 11/2/24. After researching and not finding any active permits, an initial inspection was conducted, validating the complaint along with a stop work order posted. On 11/4/24, the notice of violation was both sent by mail and posted to the property. I had my first verbal contact with Mr. Burkett on 11/13, discussing the case violation and directing him to planning in order to move forward. 12/4, I received information from DEP. There wasn't any wetland damage, along with full archaeological surveys for the 2 acres being cleared. And through the holidays, there was a little bit of a setback with all the agencies and external departments needed to assist Mr. Burkett. So they did attempt to get a clearing permit in February 12th of 25. But it was denied due to the location being below Choctawhatchee Bay and a full development order being required for the activity. And then, later in February on the 26th, there was a consult meeting at Planning with Tim Brown, where they presented potential development plans with a possibility of a boat and RV storage lot having the most potential. But this would require zoning change and could become time consuming. So I advised Mr. Burkett in the meeting that I wouldn't be able to keep the case open throughout the whole process and would have to schedule the magistrate hearing when a docket or schedule allowed. Then on 3/27/25, the notice of hearing was posted to the property and mailed out and posted at the courthouse annex on 416. And as of yesterday, I went back into the county portal, finding the pre-application conference that had taken place on 5/1 of this month, and where they presented their plans for the lot and the request of a zoning change, but didn't locate any updated approvals for the permits to allow closure of the case. I would like to submit my case filing packet into evidence.
I'll accept that in the evidence. All right. Mr. Burgess, do you have any questions for Officer Forehand?
No questions.
Okay.
I would like to offer just a brief
Sure.
continued explanation.
Yeah, you can either stand there, sit there, or you can come up, whatever's easiest for you.
Thank you, Magistrate Dykes. Dean Burgess with Emerald Coast Associates. I think Mr. Forehand did a good job of explaining what's occurred here. I would want to offer, not that that it excuses the violation, that we agree there was a violation on the property. I just wanted to make it clear that I don't think it was intentional. They did clear the property in order. They had a company come in to clear the underbrush to allow for a survey to be done. I think the operator or owner of the company got a little overzealous and confused. You can gyro track wetlands, and I think he was thinking we're just gyro tracking wetlands. That wasn't the case. He was just supposed to clear enough for the environmental scientists and surveyors to get in there, and I think that's how this all came about. In any event, we are seeking a zoning change and pursuing a development order for this. I just wanted to discuss that timeline can get lengthy, anywhere from 10 to 12 months. And I would just ask that we consider that. The zoning change can take 4 months, development order can take roughly 6 months.
Okay.
I would just ask that you consider that in our time frame.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Officer Forehand, do you have any questions for Mr. Burgess? Okay. All right, what's staff's recommendation?
Well, I recommend a minimum of 61 days, but given the procedures they're gonna have to go through, even I can agree with whatever your maximum allowance will be, because they're gonna be tied up with zoning changes and all that for some time. There'll be quite a bit of build up for likely.
All right. And assuming they're, regardless of the amount of time I give them.
150 thereafter.
All right. Mr. Burgess, you heard Officer Forehand's requested recommendation, give the max amount of time available. I think both sides know it. I can't give 10 months, but I can give you whatever the maximum is. And even if there violations accrue, there's a mechanism or procedure you can request what's called a fine reduction, as long as you can show that you've actively been progressing to try to get the violations
Right.
resolved, and a $150 fine per day. Do you have any comments or anything else you want me to consider before, at least on that part of it?
No, we understand that we need to resolve this as expeditiously as possible, and my client has informed me to move at the quickest possible pace.
I'm glad you're helping him. I know you know the rules around here, so I think he's in good hands. All right. Based on that, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I'll find that the property located at 298 Smith Drive in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the evidence presented and the admission by Mr. Burgess that the violation, while seems to be unintentional, has occurred on the property. There's a violation of 1.13.09F. Based on staff's recommendation, I will provide the maximum time allowed to bring the property in compliance. I believe I'm limited to 90 days, so I'll provide 90 days, which would be August 12th. I understand that is very unlikely you'll have it brought into compliance within that time. There's a $150 per day fine if the property is not brought into compliance by August 12th. However, as I stated earlier, there is a way, we have some later today on this agenda for fine reductions to show if you continue to actively get the matter resolved. So I would recommend that you take advantage of that if needed. There's a $98 administrative fee that will be imposed. You'll have 30 days to pay that. Would there be any problem with paying that in 30 days, Mr. Burgess?
I don't see
Okay,
a problem with that.
All right. And then I believe that's it. Did I miss anything, Mr. Forehand? All right, Mr. Burgess? Any
We're good.
question? All right.
Now, will there be a hearing in August that we need to
No.
attend?
No,
It'll
what
be
I'll-
automatic.
what-
So it just, once it clicks over, they'll come check the property, they'll sign an affidavit saying it's still not in compliance, and the fines will just automatically accrue. Now, there will be another hearing that's scheduled if you seek a fine reduction, and then at that point some people show up, some people don't, but staff will usually outline, they were doing what they were supposed to do, trying to get it done. And, they'll usually make a recommendation. So, no, you won't have another hearing in between now and then.
But we should not seek that fine reduction until we have the development order in hand and we're able to proceed. Got it. Okay.
Right. So once you guys show code, hey, we think we're done, and they say, yes, you're done, then you guys can discuss how to seek that fine reduction.
Understood.
All right?
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I've signed that order. Have a good day. Well, not you, Mr. Forehand. You
I got another, mine's up next. I got another one.
All right.
Yeah, and let people know to keep the mic on.
All right. Our next case is 24-00838. The property owner is listed as Pam Billett.
Pam Billett and Sandra Willingham, co-owner.
I only have Ms.
Yeah,
Billett.
that's the way it printed out from the property when it links it directly from it, just like it prints the first name.
What's the other one? Sandra?
Sandra Willingham. Both names are on the final order for you to sign.
All right, so both of these ladies are on the deed or listed as owners for the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I see, which one of you is Miss Billett? Okay, so Miss Billett in the pink, and so the other one's Miss Willingham, I'm assuming. All right. Both of you ladies were sworn in earlier? All right, great. You seen how we do it? I'm gonna let Officer Forehand present, and then we'll hear from either both of you or one of you. All right? All right, whenever you're ready, Officer Forehand.
Code Compliance Officer Greg Forehand. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary report, presentation, and testimony in reference to case number 24-00838. This property is in unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to Land Development Code per Florida Statutes, Chapter 162. Parcel number will be 23-3 November 21370610000230, also known as 247 O'Daniels Way in Defuniak Springs, belonging to Miss Pam Billett and Sandra Willingham. Violations cited are for 50709C Charlie, exterior storage of non-operating vehicles, junk or debris, and 202.00P for RVs and campers. Complaint was received on 9/16/24, and I initiated research resulting in phone contacts between both the owners and the complainant, and making prior arrangements for 9/24/25 to do an initial inspection, confirming the conditions of the complaint, and a notice of violation was hand delivered to the residents, Mr. Randy Simmons, and which the affidavit of service is in the packet. 9/3/24, a right of entry agreement was signed, notarized, obtaining assistance with dumpster delivery that began on 10/2/24. On 10/7/24, initiated my first inspection less than a weekend, and after the dumpster was delivered, and they had already started with some progress and continued inspections thereout with multiple dumpsters being delivered. And on 2/4/25, I received information from the landfill that due to the unstable terrain, it's very sandy out there at that location, causing their vehicles to get stuck. This would be the last drop off of dumpsters on the 4th of February, with them leaving 2 dumpsters to be filled. After this advisory and those dumpsters being there seemed to be the most change in the removal of debris and overall appearance of their property when inspected on 2/25/25. On 3/10, the landfill went out to remove the dumpsters again, and again getting stuck and having complications and having to return on 3/20. So they haven't been able to have a dumpster out there since March the 20th. On 4/3, the notice of hearing was prepared and placed in certified mail. I also spoke with Miss Sandy by phone to advise her of the hearing date and answer any questions she may have. And the hearing notice was also posted at Courthouse Annex on 4/16, along with the property of 4/21. And I would like to submit my case file and pack it into evidence.
That'll be accepted. Miss Willingham or Miss Billett, this is your opportunity to ask any questions of Officer Forehand if you have any.
I've asked him probably everything I could think of. He's been excellent. The biggest thing that I have is my brother's disabled, and he's also a hoarder. My sister and I are the only ones to clean the lot up, so we've been up there cleaning. We've filled several dumpsters. Every time we get it cleaned, he's bringing more stuff back. This is where he lives. This is his place to live. And my father is the one who owned the land that willed it to us. He's still alive. But his request is that my brother stay there. But I know the RV has to be moved. My question is, and I've spoke with Greg about this. He wants to go ahead and live in a tent on that, but he already has the sewer and the water hookup. I guess my question is, if we pulled the RV out, would this be something that would be allowable? And I also want to know if we could have extended time to as much as allowed in order to finish trying to clean up this and get it behind a fence, so that it's presentable and it's up to code.
Okay, well, I can't advise you on that. Well, let's go with the first question.
Okay.
Officer Forehand, would he be allowed to live in a tent out there?
There's no regulations against tent living in the county, but that's what I advised. They would have to be, I believe there is septic and all on the property.
There
And I
is.
said, as long as there's proof, if he's staying there, maybe temporarily coming and going with the tent, then if there's showing a proper disposal of waste, that shouldn't be, there's no violation against, coming and going or living with a tent there. There was a pre-existing mobile home there years ago, and I don't remember, did you say move it out of there? I
We
don't
pulled it
remember.
out
It
and,
was in.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it was, it was a residential area in the past. It had the pre-existing mobile home. But yeah, we discussed that with the tent, and I told her it couldn't be completely permanent, but the main objective is the debris and the RV no longer allowed to be there without a primary structure, especially to be lived in as a, residence. So,
Well, and I think, that's a concern with your brother. It doesn't sound like he's got any other options. I mean, I can't, make up new laws up here or tell the county to change theirs. So, we have to deal, kind of grapple with what the hand we're dealt with. So, as far as being able to screen the property, is that an option
yes,
for
I've
this
given
property?
that option. They've discussed it, but of course, it's a decent sized property, and financially and things like that, it's doing the fence to the degree it would take is going to also take them time with working with it. But it has been discussed with the screening method.
Yeah, I mean, I think Officer Forehand's outlined you have options. I mean, I don't know financially how great any of them are for you versus, trying to clear it up. But if he's a hoarder, as you say, it may be best to look at screening because you may just be,
Yeah, they're kind of chasing themselves around trying to get it cleaned up.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, especially if they brought a couple dumpsters.
He
and it's
literally
still-
feels like they're completely robbing his life away from him by trying to dispose of anything.
So, all right. Ms. Willingham, Ms. Billett, anything else that you want me to consider?
Just if you could consider giving me the maximum amount of days. It's just the two of us. We're trying, but it's
Understand.
whatever you think.
Yeah, I was having some scheduling with the days I was going to request, and I had some scheduling events, and I was actually going to request 61 days, so I'd be returned in on shift on 7/14, and $100 a day thereafter. But I was going to leave it to your discretion given their situation.
All right. Are there any administrative fees?
$91.
All right. So you've heard from Officer Forehand. He's recommending 61 days. So that would mean property would need to be brought into compliance if I find there's a violation on or before July 14th. I can give more time. Do you think you can get it done in 61 days, or do you want more time?
If there's a lot there,
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot on the
Yeah,
photograph.
there's a lot.
All right. All right. Any other comments regarding staff's recommendation? All right. I thank you ladies for showing up.
Thank you.
I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 247 O'Daniels Way,
Yes, sir.
Defuniak Springs, Florida, is located in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, that I do find that there are violations on the property, and specifically those violations are 5.07.09C and 2.02.00P. Those deal with living in an RV and junk and debris. Based on staff's recommendation, well, let me put it this way. This will be different than staff's recommendation. What's the 90 days? August 12th. So I'll provide you 90 days, which I believe is the maximum I'm allowed to provide. So you'll have on or before August 12th to try to bring the property into compliance. Should the property not be brought into compliance on or before August 12th, there will be a $100 per day fine. There's also a $91 administrative fee. That'll need to be paid within 30 days. Is there going to be any problem with that, ma'am?
No.
And as I stated for the previous case, I understand it may take more than the 90 days, but don't let that deter you. Try to bring the property into compliance. And if the property is brought into compliance, even after the 90 days, you can seek a fine reduction. So that's an option. I don't want you to feel as though, if we can't get it done in 90, we might as well give up. If it takes a little longer and you can show that you've been actively trying to bring the property in compliance, there's a way to get those fines at least reviewed and maybe reduced.
Okay, thank you.
Do you guys have any questions, Officer Forehand, regarding the order? Any questions from you, ladies? All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Showing up, yes. That concludes your case. All right, we'll do one more and then we'll take like about a 5 or 10 minute break since we've been going for right about an hour. We have case number CE 25-01170. Property owner is listed as Joe Cunningham and the address is 547 Mallet Bayou Road in Freeport, Florida. Is Mr. Cunningham here? Okay, great. All right. And so this is Mr. Cunningham. Can you hear me? Kinda? No? A little bit?
At all?
Loudly on this side.
Can you hear him at all? Huh? Can you hear him at all? No. Usually, this might be a little difficult.
Usually we help him by kind of hollering in his ear.
Okay.
He has good days and bad days with it.
Okay.
Well,
How would
I
you
mean,
like
I
to
guess
proceed?
as best we can, we'll speak as loud as we can, and then as I guess you'll hear what Officer Neenan's speaking about, and then you can maybe relay kind of the key points.
I'll stand next to him and try to talk as loud as I can so that he can possibly hear me.
Okay, and you might, you're gonna need to.
You have to listen to what she says
Why don't you
first.
go? Can you step over there where she's sitting and just be kind of right beside him so you can speak onto the mic as well?
Not your turn yet.
What she says.
Yeah, it's not your turn yet.
Yeah, that'll work.
I'm sorry.
I think that's about as good as we can do. All right, and then we'll make sure that we ensure that Mr. Cunningham hears at least the key points so he knows what's going on.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready, Officer Neenan.
I'm Officer Rachel Neenan, Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary report and testimony in regards to case 25-01170. The property is located at 547 Mallet Bayou Road, Freeport, Florida, 32439. Parcel number 341 South 1923100000070. The property owner is Joe Cunningham. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and the county ordinances. The violations cited are 1.13.06, post-development order and post-permit changes. We received a complaint on 2/10 of 2025 that the owner didn't file an affidavit for accessory dwelling unit with planning and people living in the storage building and in the Airstream RV. On 2/13 of 2025, I conducted my initial inspection but found no evidence of living in the storage building or RV. I spoke with Michelle at the building department about this accessory building and found that they applied for a permit in 2009 and it was granted but never had been inspected or completed. On February 15th of 2025, a notice of violation was issued as prescribed by code. I did not have any contact with the property owner. On April 15th of 2025, a notice of hearing was issued as prescribed by code. On May 1st of 2025, the property owner did call me, but we had difficulty with phone connection. I tried to call back, but the number was not connected or was from an app possibly. I did try to text him so he could understand what I was saying. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The photos in your packet show the initial inspection and pre-hearing conditions with violations still existing. I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
All right, that'll be accepted.
Thank you. He's just accepting my packet.
You accepted what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And if that packet that she has over there, it has all of your pictures and all of, he has a copy of this up there,
Okay,
and that's what we're accepting into evidence.
okay. Well,
She's saying that she's going over what they did when they came out each time, when they came out each time and they looked at what they saw and what she's reporting to him what she saw. That's all she's done so far.
okay.
And this packet is just
Here.
pictures for him. So far, that's all. So far, that's it. We're not done yet. That's it so far.
That's all so far.
Yes.
It's just so he can see where we're at. And this is your copy. See,
My copies, okay,
that's where we are so far.
okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Okay.
I
When he initially got
the
the permit,
paperwork I found in 2009, I don't know how long am I talking? Am I talking to
You're good. You're good.
Okay. In 2009, I bought the building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I bought. I didn't buy a mobile home. I bought a modular office, and that's what it is.
Okay.
Okay, and I hired a moving guy. I paid him good money to move it and install it,
McClellan's LLC installed.
and he was doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been on my property. I've been paying taxes on it since 2009. I didn't know, the neighbor, we got kind of crosswise, and he's saying it's a mobile home. It's not a home, it's no bedrooms, no kitchen, it's just a storage unit.
Right. It's a modular trailer, which a lot of people call it a modular home, but it's not necessarily a mobile home.
Okay,
So when you got your permit in 2009, you had to have the building department inspect and do certificate of completion.
I talked to some man,
Go
I
ahead.
talked to some man at the south end,
Mm-hmm.
we had a discussion about it's not a mobile home because there's no kitchen, no bedrooms. It's a storage building. And I paid $91 for something, but I don't have a receipt. All I got's the fact that I've been paying taxes on it since 2009.
Right.
And
gonna-
then we find this question comes up, and then I talk to you or somebody says, well, just reapply. Well, we went online. She was trying to help me online. And it asks questions for things that what zone are you in? What's your neighbor's zone? And it wants a letter of something, compliance.
Acknowledgement.
And in 2009, I paid my money, went to the county. I thought I was doing everything right. And now today, I'm in trouble.
I'm gonna give this to him.
Thank you.
So what am I looking at?
And
This is the receipt where he bought the building. It's just the kind of the specs on it and who delivered.
So, just so I'm clear, the violation appears to be that there was no inspection to close out
To do a certificate of completion with the building department.
So, because this is normally what we hear about is a certificate of occupancy, they'll inspect it and say, okay, now you can live in it. In this case, because this is not set up or presented as a living quarters or living space, you're still supposed to have it inspected to ensure maybe proper tie downs, that type of stuff.
Correct.
And then ensure, I guess, that nobody's going to live there. And then they would do you would issue from the county a certificate of completion that the mobile or modular office building has been delivered and is properly, I guess, tethered to the property and whatnot.
Correct, yes, sir. The permit that he applied for in 2009 is in your packet. When I talked to Michelle at the building department, she said that it had never done a notice of commencement. There had been never any inspections or anything further past the issuance saying that it could be brought there. But then after that point, multiple inspections have to be done and a certificate of completion needs to be done as well. And none of that had been done.
Okay, and at this point, the permit's expired, so he'd
Correct,
have to
yes.
reapply and then reschedule those
Correct.
inspections.
Correct, yes, sir.
Right, okay. Let me hand this back to you. So, I think with that, and what's your name, ma'am? I'm sorry? Rhonda Hopkins? Okay. Ms. Hopkins, do you understand what we've just discussed regarding that he had permission before to bring it on, but there was still some...
Yes, sir. He was under the impression that the guy that he hired to set everything up completed all of it. He wasn't aware that it wasn't, or...
Well, I don't think anybody was
Yeah,
until...
and now that he knows, he realizes that he has to start from the beginning. He's just worried about the time frame because he still didn't fully understand the length of what had to be done until we got online and looked at it, and it was a little overwhelming for him at the time. But
Understood. Yeah, I mean, it can be overwhelming even for those that
Yeah.
don't have some help.
Right.
So, okay, and then what's staff's recommendation as far as, it sounds like they understand now what Mr. Cunningham needs to do to bring the property in compliance. What's the normal turnaround time, assuming Mr. Cunningham can get online and get the process started maybe in the next week or so? I mean,
Our recommendation was 30 days to achieve compliance. I don't know if that's realistic I don't know if they have the documentation to be able to get it permitted because it is so old, so I'm not sure what the planning department and the building department are going to require for permitting.
All right.
And $100 per day fine to accrue, $98 admin fee. But completely up to your discretion.
Yeah, I agree. I think 30 days would be pushing it, considering some of the challenges as far as being able to present the documentation or sufficient documentation for building, the planning department. I guess the one question I did have is, which would be, I guess, more of an issue, which I don't see it as a, so there is no evidence that people are living in this.
Not that I can view. It's behind the primary home.
Okay. Is there anybody living in this?
No, sir.
Okay. Obviously we can't have anybody living. It's not set up for anybody to live in. So that's good to know. So, all right. So we've heard from staff as far as their recommendation goes. I tend to agree with Officer Neenan and her representation that 30 days is, well, that would be nice. I don't think it's realistic. Ms. Hopkins, are you going to be helping Mr.
Yes, sir.
Cunningham?
Yes, sir. And that was my next question. The things that are already stored, because this is, it's a storage building, the things that are in there in storage, does the whole building have to be emptied to go
I don't
before the
believe-
inspection?
I
Or
don't believe-
okay, just so long as they can get in to inspect or things like that would be fine, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge or input on what would have to be removed. Because again, you know, if they can't get in,
Right.
then you may have to remove some things so they can walk around or inspect it properly. But as far as the timeline goes, do you have any comments, either yourself, Ms. Hopkins, or Mr. Cunningham?
30
amount.
days, really and truthfully, it could be pushing it. He has a lot of doctor's appointments and things like that. I will do everything within my power to try to get as much done in 30 days as we can, as far as the paperwork end of it and all that stuff. I don't know how long that will normally take, but I'll find out while I'm here what I need to do and not need to do to make sure we've got that right. If there's someone I can speak to about
I
it.
could tell you, it's probably not going to be. It'll be
Okay.
more than 30 days to get
Thank
it
you.
done. But I'm trying to figure out, like,
I just want it to be realistic so that we're not wasting time
yeah, and I don't
of
want to
your
waste
time
either.
as well as his. You know.
Okay.
The county's definitely not opposed to 90 days, just being able to locate the structural components that they're going to have to apply with.
All right.
Being that the building is so old, I think it might take some time.
Okay. I appreciate that, and I'm sure Mr. Cunningham appreciates that.
Very much.
All right. Anything else, Officer Neenan?
No, sir.
All right. Anything else from Mr. Cunningham or Ms. Hopkins?
You said on the fine part?
Well, I haven't done anything yet, so I'm
Okay,
just
that's what I
asking,
wanted.
is there any more evidence or testimony that I need to consider?
Just what, if you're gonna give us the 90 days, that comes into compliance with everything on paper, that end of it, and as well as the site itself, as long as you show significant progress, or if anything is out of code at that point, we'll know before then, right? Because you'll come out before then and inspect and stuff?
Right, yes.
Okay,
So as long as you have the approved permits through the planning and building department, if you have those before the deadline, then you'll be good to go.
okay,
And I'll get your phone number as well after we leave here so that we can
okay,
have some communication.
thank you.
Okay. All right. With that being said, I'll close the evidence portion of the hearing. Does Mr. Cunningham have a question before?
He just asked, and I told him, you're okay. That's what he was wondering if it was done yet.
Not yet. I'm trying to get there. So I'll close the evidence portion of the hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 547 Mallet Bayou Road in Freeport, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented today, I do find that there is a violation of the Walton County Land Development Code, specifically 1.13.06 post-permit changes. Based on the staff's recommendation and the request by the property owner, I will provide that the property will need to be brought into compliance within 90 days.
Thank you.
That means the property will need to be brought in compliance on or before August 12th of this year. In the event the property is not brought into compliance, there will be a $100 per day fine until the property is brought into compliance. There's a $98 administrative fee. That will need to be paid within 30 days. Is that going to be a problem, Ms. Hopkins?
No.
All right. So that'll be paid within 30 days. That'll be paid regardless of whether or not the property is brought into compliance.
Okay.
And as I stated before, for some other cases,
About
even
the
if you,
reduction.
yeah, even if you can't get the property brought into compliance within 90 days, if it takes you, 120 days, 190 days, keep showing that you're trying to get it done. I understand permitting and inspections from the county is sometimes difficult to get in a timely manner, but as I said, there is a procedure to seek a fine reduction. All right. Any questions, Officer Neenan, on the order? All right. Ms. Hopkins or Mr. Cunningham, any questions regarding the order? You got 90 days to bring the property into compliance.
We have 90 days
Yeah.
to take care of everything. And at that time, if we need to have longer, they'll deal with it. But right now, we have to try to get everything taken care of in 90 days. And me and her are gonna give our phone numbers.
We can
Yes.
talk,
Yes.
okay.
And we have to pay $100.
Under the wall.
Understood. Well, I
Yes, sir.
Understand compliance today. But if we're applying today's requirements for something that happened 16 years ago, you ask for things today back then we didn't do. I mean,
But if the permit was right then, we wouldn't be here now.
some letter of compliance. I don't know what that is. I don't know where to go get one.
Nobody's
If I
mad
buy
at
a
you.
home now, it might tell me. But 2009, it's for sale. Here's your money. Here. Pay the guy to move it. He's supposed to take care of everything. And
You're not in trouble. They're
not
not
in
mad
trouble.
at you.
No.
It's-
We'll get
it's-
it taken.
I'm willing to help, but like I say, don't put my feet to 2025 requirements for 2009 happening.
understood. Yeah, and like I said, I think Officer Neenan will help you, shepherd you through this. And this isn't the only one. I mean, this happens all the time where old permits aren't closed out, and so there's a process. So, well, good luck, and we
Very
appreciate
much.
you showing up, and that'll conclude that case. All right, so you guys.
It was difficult.
All right. At this time, we're going to go ahead and take we'll just take a
I'm gonna give her
quick
my number.
5-minute recess so everybody can stretch your legs, take a little comfort break. So it's 11:08. Actually, we'll come back at 11. It's 11:15. I'm going to call back to order the May 14th code compliance hearing. At this time, I'm going to try to get a couple of these. These are the things that we talked about, fine reduction. So the last three on the agenda, 11, 12, and 13, we're going to handle out of order. So anybody here for that can be done, and then we'll finish up the last. Looks like we got 4 more cases. So at this time, I'm going to call case 23-01680. Property owner is Delia Green, and the address is 2460 West County Highway 30A in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. And this is a fine reduction. Mr. Galloway, is anybody here on behalf of Delia Green? All right, if you will come up. Do I have orders up here?
Yes, sir.
All right, Officer Galloway, whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Drew Galloway, Code Compliance Officer of Walton County. For the record, I'm submitting my case summary reports and testimony in reference to case 23-01680. The property is located at 2460 West County Highway 30A, Santa Rosa Beach, with a parcel number of 12-3 South-230-34030-00N-0120. The property owner is Delia Green, T-A-L, et al. Okay. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the provisions of Chapter 7 of the Land Development Code. Violation recited as 1.13.00 development approval, 2.01.04 primary uses, and 1.13.13 certificate of land use compliance. This case was brought before Magistrate Bowman on March the 15th of 2023 and found in violation with corrective action to be taken on or before 3/27/2023. Recorded in the public records of Walton County, book 3283 and page 2731 on 3/16/2023. An affidavit of non-compliance was issued on March the 31st of 2023. Affirmed corrective action had not been taken. Order imposing fine and or administrative lien was recorded on May the 17th of 2023 and signed by Magistrate Dykes. Property had accrued $12,750 as of that date, with $250 per day to continue until compliance was reached. An affidavit of compliance was recorded on 3/27/2025, bringing the number of days for accrued fine to 730, $250 per day, totaling a fine of $182,500. County recommends no more than a 50% reduction of the accrued fines, bringing the fine to $91,250.
Remind me, Mr. Galloway, what the violations were for the property?
The violations cited were 1.13.00 development approval. I think Ms. Green at that time was trying to establish a used car lot at the corner of Flounder and 30A. That brought up the 2.01.04 primary uses.
and a 1.13.13 certificate of land use compliance.
All right. And it looks like the property is owned by Mr. and Miss Green. Is that, I believe it's
Delia Green and
Delia
others.
and Richard? All right. Is that both of you? All right.
No, that's not
No.
us.
Oh, sorry. Who are you?
We're here on her behalf. My name's Mark Miller.
I go by TK Bradley. I'm Thalia Bradley. I actually live in the neighborhood.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was the first name?
HALIA.
Okay. All right. You've heard from, or I've heard from, Officer Galloway regarding his, fines that have accumulated over 2 years, $182,500. Staff's recommending a reduction in the amount of 50%, which would drop that to approximately $91,000. What would you like for me to hear regarding this fine reduction?
Well, so I'm a neighbor. Miss Delia struggles with some mental health issues, and it's extremely bad. I mean, when you say like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, it's true. This gentleman here has the house listed for sale, so she is moving out of our community. I do live 4 houses down. I just ask that we give her grace, because when she's not on her medication, she's a totally different person than when she is medicated. Her family has stepped in and is regulating her medications. They've actually taken her to South Florida so that she will, not just not be a nuisance to the neighborhood, but so she can get regulated. I think when we were having all the issues, because I've spoken to you, I think at Waffle House or something, I think when we were having all the issues, I know she was off her medication, and she cannot function as a human being when she's not medicated. In fact, it got so bad this past year, another neighbor was having to drop groceries at the front door. She wouldn't even turn the lights on in the house. She'd, make sure that the other neighbor pulled off before she'd even open the door, grab the bag, pull it in. But even though she had electricity, she wouldn't run with electricity. And I don't think at the time she was actually running a car lot. She was trying to rent those through Turo, which is the Airbnb of, car rental. She was just trying to make money. And when she's medicated, she's actually a very prominent attorney, but she's kind of been this way, 3 years?
So she sold another house in that neighborhood October of 2022, I think it was November. Shortly after that, she started sending me some really weird texts. I had to reach out to her brother and her dad and say, I think she needs help. I blocked her after that, and I think that's when she started buying the
Yeah, that's when she started buying the vehicles, and she just spiraled downward. I mean, and just, I just ask that we give her compassion and grace, because she is a human being. And, I do live there, and I was complaining, but that was before I knew the root cause of all of this.
So, but the issues as far as what she was cited for, those have been resolved. You're not having...
yeah, the property's
Yes,
clean.
sir.
He's actually got it listed for sale. It's cleaned up. It looks good. I mean, I do think that we have one neighbor in particular in our neighborhood that loves to call code compliance. So, we do. I mean, and I know who it is because he's calling about another neighbor's fence. But anyway, I just ask that we give her some grace, because she is trying to sell it, and I think right now this is all the funds she will have and she's an older lady.
Mr. Galloway, since I wasn't involved in the original case for when the original violation was found, was there any health or safety issues other than her having a bunch of cars or trying to rent cars through Toro or some other mechanism out there?
The only thing that was probably a safety issue at the time she had all the cars there was the sight triangle from the intersection off of Flounder on the 30A created quite a hazardous time during that time when she had all those cars there because people couldn't see the traffic coming either way.
Yeah, I see that that's right there, kind of a triangle property.
And also
Right
there
there
was,
on
there was at one time a large 10-wheel refrigerated truck that was there that just completely blocked any kind of visibility. We attempted to speak with Miss Green on numerous occasions, and as she's talking about, she was very agitated, beyond normal agitation, and it was hard to communicate with her at all, and she never would open the door. After I knocked on the door, she'd open a little bean hole and talk through the bean hole there.
Okay. So were there any accidents or anything? So I understand the site triangle, and looking at that intersection off the property appraiser's website, I can see where that could have been an issue, but outside of that, was there anything else?
I don't have any record of any accidents taking place, but there were some close calls there according to the neighbors.
Right. Okay. All right. Anything else county wants me to consider before I make a decision?
No, sir.
All right. Let me ask this of you, Mr. Miller. You currently have the property listed for sale, and what's the listing price?
Have it listed at 700.
Okay. And how long has the property been listed? Okay. And is this all the property, and you guys may not even know this, but I'll go ahead and ask. I mean, do we know if Ms. Green owns any other property? I mean, what's her plans after she
Has
sells?
a lot up here in Freeport that's also listed for sale.
So she plans to move out of the area? Is that?
Already has.
She's already been moved by her family. That's what, Mark called the brother and the
So-
dad and said, I think she really needs help. So they did kind of come in here, swoop up, get this house listed to get her, because when you're on those type of meds, you don't remember to take them sometimes. So now there's someone there to monitor that she
Okay.
takes them every day.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. So, is county's recommendation still the 50%?
County wouldn't mind going to 25%.
What would that be?
45,650.
Okay. All right. All right, I'll close the evidence portion. I think it says a lot to have a neighbor, Miss Bradley, show up, and even your realtor, Mr. Miller, show up and advocate for you, considering Miss Green doesn't seem to have the ability to advocate for herself. But I also understand the county's position. It's spent time, resources on this. Based on what I've heard and in the exercise of my discretion, I will reduce this to 10%, which will mean that the violation, or I'm sorry, the fines will be reduced from $182,500 to $18,250.
Is there an admin fee as well?
Wouldn't that does that include the admin fee? No, that doesn't include. I guess did you have evidence that she ever paid the admin fee, or anybody paid the
I
admin?
don't have any. I think the admin fee originally was ever paid.
All right, so that, if there is an admin fee, whatever was outstanding that wasn't paid will need to be paid.
I think the original admin fee was $88.
All right, so if it's $88, that's what'll need to be paid.
Now, is that time sensitive, or can she pay that once the property sells?
So normally I do put a fuse on these, so to speak, so that you have to pay the reduced fine within a certain amount of time. But considering that the property is listed and it sounds like the funds would be coming from the sale of that property, what I'll do is, and I guess if there's another violation, it can be brought as a repeat violation. But is there any issue, or do we believe that there's going to be another violation on the property? It sounds like.
Don't foresee any.
Everything's gone by one, I mean, I live there, so everything's gone but one car.
Okay.
Currently.
Well, and obviously if there's another violation, they can bring that forward and we can deal with that. But I think on this one, based on the uniqueness of it and the property's, excuse me, currently listed for sale, we won't put that fuse on this one. So it'll just be the $18,250. It'll be paid, obviously, upon sale or transfer of the property. Mr. Galloway or Officer Galloway, any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Miller or Miss Bradley, any questions?
No, thank
Sir,
you so
thank you.
much.
We appreciate you guys showing up. We wish Miss Green the best. Part of this is trying to bring the property into compliance, which we're glad that's been done. I've signed that order, and good luck on selling the property. All right, thank you. Our next case is also a fine reduction. This is number 12 on our agenda. Property owner is Jeffrey Novak. Location is 96 Hickory Street in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. And let's see. You represented for the Novak Family Trust? All right, and were you sworn in earlier, sir? Okay, great. All right, Mr. Galloway, or Officer Galloway, whenever you're ready.
Do you want me to go back through the whole initial thing or just go straight to the case?
No, just go straight to the case. You can just tell me, I mean, I see on here that the fine was originally $100 per day. Affidavit of noncompliance was issued on November 12th. Compliance was, looks like maybe April of this year, April 10th. What was the original violation?
The original violation was 5.0406 right-of-way protection and 1.13.00 development approval.
All right, and how many days are we looking at for the fine accrual, and what's the outstanding amount?
The affidavit of compliance was recorded on 4/10/2025, bringing the number of days for accrued fines to 148 at $100 per day, with a total fine of $14,800.
All right. Do you have any comments regarding the property owner's actions to bring the property into compliance in a timely manner?
This case really zeroed around a fence that was about approximately 25 feet out into the right-of-way of the intersection of Grove and Hickory. It actually fenced in the stop sign.
I remember this
I think in
case.
the final order, you gave him like 10 days to get the fence out from around the stop sign, but the other fence had to be removed from the right-of-way. Can't remember if you gave him 60 or 90 days to complete that. But he took the...
Yeah, I remember this one, because wasn't it this, where if you walked out by the street and you look down the road, the property or the fencing was put generally in line with adjacent property fences that were out there?
Yes, sir. There's been a lot of discussion about what's going to have to be done down there to correct some of the issues that are down there. But
Yeah, because it looked like it might be almost like a neighborhood-wide issue on.
It is.
And Mr. Novak was kind of the first one in. So, all right. Well, what's staff's recommendation?
County recommends payment of 25% of the accrued total fine, bringing the fine to $3,700.
All right. Do you know whether or not the stop sign issue was brought into compliance? I remember that one we asked for pretty quick.
Right. The posts that he had put up around the stop sign were taken down, I believe, within the week after the hearing, but the remainder of the fence stayed there until the affidavit of compliance was recorded on 4/10/2025.
Right. Mr. Novak, you have any questions for Officer Galloway, anything like that? All right.
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to just ask you to just kind of remind you where I'm at and how I got here and why the fence came down when it did. The date of compliance was really because I made a phone call and said, hey, I just found out I had a lien on my property and I'd taken this fence down. And the lady, everyone who I've ever talked to out of the county, by the way, has been super kind. I've never gotten anybody who hasn't tried to be pretty helpful. But to take a step back, when we came in here and I showed you this packet of, it's literally a neighborhood problem. It's every home, it's not like it was, and we got trees out in that neighborhood. I mean, this is more of a life safety issue in a lot of ways for me in that neighborhood with the low hanging. You couldn't get a ladder truck in there if you had to for a fire in these big homes. But anyway, you gave me, I think it was 90 days that you gave me to get compliant on this. And the idea was I was going to call the county and see if there was some kind of, way to get the, a shared easement access or something that would allow me to leave the fence up like everyone else had in the neighborhood. And I started running into like the headwinds that I really got before this date happened was that there was a new neighborhood plan that was being presented for Old Seagrove that had a ton of changes in it that I don't know how the county is going to even manage through these changes, not just building compliance changes, but roads, maybe Forest and Grove going one way. There was a lot of things. And so one of the things I ran into is there's a lot of changes that are going to happen. This thing is in the planning stages. The votes are going to be in January and February, and it's probably, we won't really know what this is going to look like until this either gets approved or not approved. It ended up getting approved February 27th of 2025. And we live here permanently. We've been home for 4 months because I have someone in my family. We've had to kind of help get to a new home that they can, we've had to help out back in Texas. So, but the point is, when that happened in February, I called my contractor and I said, do you know anybody who can tear the rest of that fence down for me? He said, yeah, I'll get it done at my first possible opening. And so I can't tell you when the date was. So if that was the beginning of March or if it was the beginning of April, I honestly have no idea when they ripped that fence. I just know when I got back April 15th, it was gone. I guess that's the, so I don't know the exact date it came in compliance or didn't come in compliance, I guess is what I'm saying. And I think the fine reduction is generous. I thought there was a chance that, I could keep the fence up like everyone else in the neighborhood has.
So the changes for the neighborhood plan,
they got approved February 27th.
right? But none of that addressed the fencing, or if it did, it didn't address it to where you could keep it.
It may or may not, because if they go one way on Grove, it's going to change the road width and a lot of things, which they may have to unless they want to cut down a bunch of big oak trees, which I know oak trees are more important than people for some people.
Understood. All right. Well, you've heard staff's recommendation of a 25% reduction. Do you have an alternative or anything else you want me to consider before I make a decision?
Well, I mean, I'd like you to consider making it as low as you think is fair, considering that I really am the first person in the neighborhood, and it was almost one of those things. It wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna go build a fence that no one else has. I mean, within 200 yards, every single home of mine is in violation. And one of my issues and one of my heated discussions I had with Drew, and I apologize for that as well, was that for the county to only be able to respond to, to be proactive or reactive, not proactive, makes it really easy for one person to single somebody out and go after them for any reason they want to, right? So, and that's kind of what happened in this case. So, this guy's dog took a dump on my driveway. I told him to pick it up. He didn't. The next day he files this complaint on my fence. So,
Understood.
Anyways, my point is I find myself in a spot that, and my wife has said, well, we need to file a complaint for every single home in the neighborhood and make sure that the response is equally as aggressive and which
Not a good way to have good neighbors.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like,
you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't.
I mean, that wouldn't be a good thing at all. So, anyhow, I flew in last night so I could be present at this, and got to fly back out tomorrow morning. And I just ask you to, do what you think is fair, and if you think this is fair, then so be it. I'll go write the check.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Anything else, Officer Galloway, before I close this out and make a final?
No, sir.
All right. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion. Similar to the last one, I'm going to use my discretion in this case. I understand staff's recommendation of 25 to pay 25% of the fine amount is very generous. I'm going to go ahead and make this a flat $850. That's going to put you at about over 5.5%, but in the 5% range of what the accrued amount is. I do believe it sounds as though the evidence was that you did resolve the issue around the stop sign timely, which was of the utmost concern. And I do recall this case being one where there were several other properties in that neighborhood, if not all the properties up and down that street that did have fences were probably in the same boat. So with that being said, your fine reduction will be to $850. That'll need to be paid within 30 days. So you do have a fuse. If you don't pay that within 30 days, it'll go back to the original amount of $14,800.
Can I write a check for that?
Can't write it to me. You have to wait till it gets in the
Well,
system.
no, but do I need to have someone bring over a certified check or a
You just
money
pay it
order?
at the clerk's office. So you can do that within the next couple days once they get it into the system,
Okay.
so they know how much.
Okay. Are
So
I'm sorry. Are you the person I always speak to? This is one I said, she's always been super nice. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
good.
sir.
Yeah, so in answer to your question, yeah, pay that at the clerk's office, probably give it a few days to get in the system so they know that, yeah, that's the right amount to pay.
Okay.
And then I don't know about certified checks or they need anything like that. You can probably just do it with a personal check if you need to.
Okay.
All right? Any questions? Officer Galloway, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Mr.
Thank you.
Novak?
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you, sir, for showing up. That'll end that case. All right, our last case, as far as fine reductions go, not our last case for today, is William LaCourte.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and I know you're not William LaCourte, but you're here on his behalf.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, great. Officer Galloway, if you want to go ahead and present.
We're presenting case number 23-01794. Location is 3788 West County Highway 30A, Santa Rosa Beach. Parcel number of 023S-20-3100-00A-0090. This case was brought before Magistrate Dykes on 11/15/2023 and found to be in violation, with corrective action to be taken on or before 1/29/2024. Recording in the public record, Walton County, Book 3707, page 4932 on 11/15/2023. Affidavit of non-compliance was issued on February the 9th, 2024, affirmed corrective action had not been taken. An order imposing fine and administrative leave was recorded on 4/19/2024 and signed by Magistrate Dykes. Property had accrued $19,000 as of that date, with a $250 per day to continue until compliance was reached. An affidavit of compliance was recorded on 4/15/2025, bringing the number of days for accrued fines to 440. $150 per day, totaling a fine of $110,000. County recommends the payment of 25% of the accrued total fine, bringing the fine to $27,500.
All right. Remind me again what the violation was?
Violation that was cited was 1.13.06, post-permit changes.
Was this the one, was it a?
This was behind Lola's Boutique on 38.
Right, they had put pavers or something in there?
Asphalt.
Asphalt? Okay. I know I think there was something like, and that was, post-permit change wasn't part of it. That should have been like left
the
natural.
area was left open for stormwater absorption and things like that. And there was a vegetative buffer there, called for on the DO, which had been taken out.
All right.
They've since replaced that and taken the asphalt up, and
Were there any issues while the asphalt was down as far as damage to neighboring property owners or anything like that?
the neighbors complained of an increase in stormwater runoff.
Outside of that, was there anything, and not to say that's nothing, but was there anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Mr. Roberts, whenever you're, yeah. Okay.
Ask Your Honor to use his discretion. Finds it in his heart to reduce it.
And was there a reason that it took so long to get it done? Did you guys try to get permits for it, or what was the issue on the delay?
I'm happy to speak to that, but it involves throwing myself on the sword. It's my fault and nobody else's.
Okay. And what was the cost, or do you even know, for your client to bring the property into compliance?
I don't know the answer to that, but I know it was at least $15,000 to get it all done.
All right. So,
And Your Honor, I'm saying at least that much, but I don't have a firm number.
okay. Were there any health or life safety issues other than the stormwater, Mr. Galloway, that you're aware of?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Roberts, you want me to?
If
Okay.
he's happy with $27,000, we'll be glad to pay it, but we ask Your Honor to.
Okay. Understood. All right. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion. I will use my discretion as I have in the other cases today. The fact that the violation took some time, the good news is it doesn't sound like there were any health or safety issues, and I don't know that there were any issues related to stormwater other than stormwater runoff, which again can be fairly significant. Let me see something real quick. Based on what's been presented and the nature of the original violation, well, I do wish it would have been earlier. I'm going to reduce this to where if the reduced fine is paid within 30 days, it'll be $5,500, which is approximately 5% of the original fine. You believe that'll be an issue for your client? Okay, so we're going to reduce that to $5,500 and require that be paid within 30 days. And we appreciate you showing up. Yep.
Just one question. I think I've heard you say you got to wait a couple days to get it in the system.
Yes, sir. They'll put this in, so I would probably call up to the clerk's office or something like that and make sure they've got it in there. That way you're not wasting your time, but a couple, 2-3 days. All right. Yes, sir. All right, that's all three of the fine reductions. That we're gonna jump back to Q&A Holdings LLC. That's number 7 on the agenda. 25-01182. Officer Neenan, you're listed on this, and you here for Q&A Holdings?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think you guys came in late. Were you sworn in earlier? Probably not. Go ahead and stand up. Let me swear you guys in. Do you both swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right. Thank you. All right. Officer Neenan, whenever you're ready.
My name is Officer Rachel Neenan, Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony regarding case number 25-01182. The property is located at 64 North 14th Street, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, 32459. Parcel number is 22-2 South-33120-094-090. Property owners QA Holdings LLC. This property is in the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and county ordinances. The violations cited are 5.04.06B6 right-of-way. The complaint came in or was received on February 13th of 2025, clearing county property and using it as a holding area, cutting trees and clearing the road with a skid steer. On February 14th of 2025, I conducted an initial inspection and found that a replacement mobile home was placed on the parcel and an old one had been removed. All have approved permits. I did see a path that had been cut down on 14th Street. No equipment was found on site. I reached out to Jim Harmon of Public Works to find out if the clearing had been permitted. On March 5th of 2025, I received an email from Jim Harmon requiring a permit for the right-of-way clearing. I spoke with the property owner by phone and emailed him the application and requirements that Jim Harmon had sent me. On March 11th of 2025, I spoke with Jim Harmon and he had received an application from the property owner. He is still waiting on the survey and the environmental assessments and other required documents to be sent to approve the permit. He stated that he would send me a copy of the permit once it had been approved. An NOV was issued as prescribed by code on March 19th of 2025. I spoke with Jim as several times, and no additional documentation was given to him for permitting. On April 14th of 2025, a notice of hearing was issued as prescribed by code, and on May 6th, I spoke with the property owner and sent him an email stating everything that was needed by Public Works. Yesterday, I received a email and a letter from the engineer that is also in your packet. I think it's the second to last page.
Saw it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're stating that it's going to take quite some time to get this in order. I don't believe that it has to take the 5 to 8 weeks of planning because the Public Works can permit this unimproved right-of-way to be cleared.
So it can be done administratively at that level?
I believe so, yes, sir. He just requires surveys and wetlands and all of those type of like the delineations and all of those things to be submitted to him to make sure that they can actually clear in that area. If not, then they're going to have to restore through the planning department to restore that property that has been cleared.
All right.
Photos in your packet show the initial inspection and pre-hearing conditions with violations still existing. I'd like to submit my packet into evidence.
That'll be accepted. All right. Do you get, I don't believe I got your name, but what's your name?
Chen.
Chen? All right. Mr. Chen, do you have any questions for Officer Neenan?
As soon as she told me what to do, I did it. I got the survey, I did everything. Now there's communication because I've been sending her the wrong email. But I mean, as soon as she told me to do it the next day, it was done.
That's fine. This is just, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go through some of that, but do you have any specific questions you want to ask Ms. Neenan or Officer Neenan while she's here?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. Now's your opportunity to explain or testify or present evidence on anything that you want.
The survey guy took like a month. And
yeah.
And then
I'm surprised you got it done in a month, actually.
Yeah.
You know,
and as soon as
longer.
as soon as the survey came in, I called my civil and he, did his thing. So I'm in the mercy of all of them.
Yeah, I understand. And I have a copy of that letter from Nautilus Civil Engineers that is helping. So it looks as though, I guess, 14th Street just kind of stopped and you own property past where it stopped. So you cleared the right of way and didn't get your permit to do work on the county's right of way.
I did get the permit to put in the septics and all of that, what I mean? So,
but you had to get to your property to do that.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing right now.
Understood. So, all right. So what's staff's recommendation on this?
recommendation is 15 days to achieve compliance or $250 per day fine to accrue, admin fee of $98. I did have that recommendation before I received that letter from Nautilus.
Yeah, I understand. And
One
I
of
mean,
my issues was that the case came in and he was notified at the beginning of March. He didn't reach out to a civil engineer for almost 2 months to be able to get those things. I understand it does take time and to do all of that. I think once he has those documents from, I believe, from Curtis Smith, it should be pretty quick. As soon as you give it to Jim, he's checking things off, he's submitting and approving.
Are there any immediate concerns? I mean, I did unpermitted work in the right of way, but are there any health or safety issues that I need to be aware of that?
It's possible wetlands. It does run all the way to the mosquito ditch.
Okay.
So there's a mosquito ditch on the other end of that road. And he owns the 3 lots, the one that the mobile home is on, which was the parcel that was called in on, and the 2 other lots on the other side of it. And he cleared to be able to enter into those properties, but without permits. I'm not positive that there won't be restoration, possibly. It just depends on what the wetland delineation and DEP has to say about that.
Yeah, I show, at least from the property appraisers, this property site, the one adjacent, but then there's a more skinny one that lists William Bard as the owner. But notwithstanding, I mean, I understand. Outside of the wetlands, anything else that I need to take into consideration? Like, just if it was just to restore, I understand the short timeline, knowing how backed up engineers and the county is on certain things. It just seems like that might be setting them up to fail, and then we have another hearing to talk about fine reduction, which is fine. That's what I'm here for. So, okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, in a second. So, sticking with the 15 days, or do you want to reconsider based on the?
It's up to your discretion.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, yes, sir.
The wetland guy said he has to have a civil involved in it. That's why. When I got the survey as soon as she called me, and the survey took 1 month. So if you guys, we look at the timeline, and then as soon as I got the survey in, I sent it to Curtis, the civil engineer, and the wetland guy did his thing already, and he said he can't do nothing until it's civil gets involved. So that's why.
How much time would you request?
According to Curtis, he could get it done in his part, hopefully in a month, but he's up to the county to approve it. So, I mean, I give you every documents we have.
Well, you don't give them to me. I'm not the one making that decision. Get them to the county, obviously. All right. So you think about, so we did 45 days. You think that would give him enough time and you could show some significant progress by then?
Yeah. I mean.
All right. Officer Neenan, any questions for Mr. Chen on what I've asked him about? Anything? Okay. All right. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 64 North 14th Street, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. That based on the testimony and evidence presented today, there is a violation of 5.04.06B6, right-of-way agreement, that based on the recommendation by the county and the evidence presented by Mr. Chen and his testimony, I'm going to give Mr. Chen 45 days. All right, so you're actually going to get a little more than 45 days, Mr. Chen. So on or before June 30th, you'll need to get the permit for the clearing on the right-of-way. If it's not brought into compliance on or before June 30th, a $250 per day fine will be imposed. And I'll parrot what I've been saying all day. You saw, even if it goes a little past, you can come back and ask for a fine reduction, but continue to work on that, work with the county. There's a $98 administrative fee. You'll need to pay that within 30 days, and that'll be regardless of whether or not you bring the property into compliance. Any questions, Officer Neenan, regarding my order?
No, sir.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Chen, regarding that? All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case is CE 25-01218. Property owner listed as Norma McCormick, and the address is 92 and 110 Andy Drive in Freeport, Florida. And are you Miss Norma McCormick? Okay. And Miss McCormick, were you sworn in earlier? Okay, great. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Officer Neenan, looks like this is your case whenever you're ready.
Officer Rachel Neenan, Walton County Code Compliance. For the record, I am submitting my final summary case report and testimony regarding case 25-01218. The property is located at 92 Andy Drive, Freeport, Florida, 32439. Parcel number 22-1 South 192302000C0110. Property owner Norma McCormick. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Land Development Code, Chapter 7, and the county ordinances. The violations cited are 5.00.03 building setbacks. The complaint came in from Chelco. They were trying to cut trees away from the power lines. Junk vehicles and boats parked in the right-of-way, making it impossible to clear power lines. Owner refused to move them, was what the complaint said. An inspection was done on February 27th of 2025. I conducted an initial inspection and found 3 boats, 1 blue van, 1 gold car, 1 silver car, trash receptacle, 2 white trucks, and a red car in the right-of-way. There's a shed in the setbacks and junk and debris. I spoke with the property owner while doing the inspection, and she said that the gold and silver cars were waiting for a mechanic to pick them up, and that she was in the process of removing the things out of the right-of-way. On 2/28 of 2025, a notice of violation was issued as prescribed by code. On March 7th of 2025, I conducted a follow-up inspection and found that all personal items had been removed from the right-of-way. As of March 26th of 2025, the junk and debris violation had been corrected. On April 15th of 2025, a notice of hearing was issued as prescribed by code. On 5/7 of 2025, I conducted a follow-up inspection and found that the shed had not been moved and is still in the front and side setbacks. As of yesterday on my pre-inspection hearing, the shed had been moved out of the side setback, which was a 5-foot side setback, which is in the packet as well. Tammy Currid had given to her and signed off on. But it is still in the front setback, the 20-foot front setback. I did speak to Miss McCormick yesterday about that. She had a misunderstanding, wasn't quite sure that, or didn't recall that had been an issue, is what she had said. The photos in your packet show the initial inspection and the pre-hearing conditions with violations still existing. I would like to submit my packet into evidence.
All right, that'll be accepted. My question is, so originally you had the issues with the right-of-way, storage, non-operating vehicles, junk and debris.
Correct, yes, sir.
The 5.0709C for the storage of inoperable vehicles, junk and debris, that's been resolved?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And then the right-of-way, that has been cleared to the county satisfaction, so that's been
Correct, yes,
resolved?
sir.
All right. So the only matter we are left to deal with, that I'm asked to deal with today, is the 20-foot front setback. How do we know how far into that setback the county is alleging the structure is?
I don't. I didn't go on the property to measure, but it is very, very close, within a couple of feet. I guess I'm assuming here, but the mobile home that was permitted to be there would be probably close to the 20-foot front setback line, so that.
And this structure or shed that we're talking about is the gray one with the metal roof, kind of looks like a small barn type,
Correct, yes, sir.
maybe gray and white, some slate color. Okay. All right, but the side setback issue has been resolved, so it's just the front setback. All right. In your discussions with Ms. McCormick prior to the hearing, she just her statement was more that she thought that the side setback was the main issue or the only issue.
Correct, yes, sir.
All right, Ms. McCormick, do you have any questions for Officer Neenan at this time?
No, I don't have any questions. As I told her yesterday, I will have the shed pushed back.
Okay. How long do you think it's going to take you to get that done?
Probably within 30 days. It's just a matter of
Get somebody out there. Okay.
And I didn't realize that it needed to be moved back, or I would have had it done when I had it moved.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that's unfortunate. You got to get them out there again, probably to move it. So, okay. Let me ask Officer Neenan. Officer Neenan, what's the county's recommendation on this?
Recommendation is 30 days to achieve compliance and a $250 per day fine to accrue and a $98 admin fee.
All right. Ms. McCormick, do you have any other additional comments or questions regarding the staff's recommendation? Okay. All right, at this time, I'll close the evidence portion of this hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 92 Andy Drive. Tell me about this. Why does it say 92 and 110 Andy Drive? Okay. Is the shed on both? Like, is it straddling them or something?
It is on 110. I own all the property.
Right.
But my son lives at 110.
Okay. So which one is it?
At 110.
It's at 110. So we'll find that there's a violation at 110 Andy Drive because that's where the shed is located, correct? Ms. McCormick? Okay. So I'll find that there is a violation at 110 Andy Drive, Freeport, Florida. I'll also find that 110 Andy Drive is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida. Therefore, subject to the Land Development Code. Do you want to just update this? Because you got 92 Andy Drive everywhere. You want to just fix that and I can swing by the office and sign it later?
I can't recall, but I'm pretty sure it's all one parcel. It's under one parcel. It just has two addresses at it. So if you're okay with just marking out the 92 and the 110, I'm okay with that as well.
Okay. Let me do that then. All right, let me get back on track. So, 110 Andy Drive is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. The testimony and evidence presented today shows that there is a violation at the property, specifically 5.00.03, that based on the request of staff, will find that the $250 per day shall be imposed. I know staff had requested 30 days. Ms. McCormick believes 30 days will be sufficient. I'm going to go ahead and give her a little bit of a cushion and state that it'll need to be done in 45 days. All right, so you're actually going to get 47 days. So on or before June 30th. Try to get that shed moved back so it's outside of the 20 feet front setback. If it's not brought into compliance on or before June 30th, there's a $250 per day fine. There's a $98 admin fee, and that'll need to be paid within 30 days. Is that going to be a problem, Ms. McCormick?
Fine.
All right. And that'll be need to be paid regardless of when, whether or not you move the shed. All right. Did I miss anything, Officer Neenan?
No, sir.
All right. Any questions, Ms. McCormick, regarding that? All right. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for showing up. All right, our next case is 25-01128. Property owner is listed as TRA and Lee, L-E, and then Johnny Pham. Is that right? I guess.
No idea.
Well, I'm just telling you what, I hope you have an idea, because that's what's on the agenda.
You read it like I see it.
All right, Mr. Galloway, whenever you're ready. I didn't see anybody.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Drew Galloway, Code Compliance Officer with Walton County. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony in reference to case 25-01128. The property is located on Bay Magnolia in Santa Rosa Beach. The parcel number is 29-2S-19-24070-002-0070. The property owners are Pham, Tra, and Lee Johnny. That's the way it's listed on the property appraiser's office. This property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the provisions of Chapter 7 of the Land Development Code. The violation cited is 1.13.09F, clearing permit. We received the complaint on January 28th of 2025. The initial inspection was conducted on January the 30th, 2025. The packet of information that you have gives the initial inspection and the subsequent inspections on it. I was unable to make direct contact with the property owner, but the violation was explained on the NOV along with the corrective actions. According to neighbors, the property owner had expressed to them his intention to utilize the trees that had been cut down to build the house he wanted on the property. This property owner apparently owns a lawn care business, and the neighbors have seen him out there several times, and they didn't understand how he could come in and remove the trees that were taken off the property. Well, actually, they weren't taken off the property. He's got them piled up out there in a stack. As of this date, there are no permits for clearing and or construction with the County Planning and Development. The damage done to the property as of this date is both irreparable and irreversible in nature, and a fine of $500 is being sought for this activity. It is unknown as to the number of trees that have been removed, but according to the latest aerial view of the property, it appears that it was well vegetated and now completely cleared. A notice of violation was issued on February the 6th, 2025 with corrective action required compliance date of March the 6th, 2025. After several inspections of the property, the evidence of clearing activity remains on the property, but rearranged and stacked to the rear of the property. A notice of hearing was sent certified mail on March the 25th, 2025. Property posting in South Walton Annex posting on 325 and 424 respectively, as prescribed by Florida Statute Chapter 162. Proper notice was given, and I request the magistrate admit these findings into evidence.
They'll be accepted. What's staff's recommendation?
County recommends 60 days to bring the property into compliance. Failure to comply with the compliance due date will result in a $250 per day fine to accrue. Begin to accrue.
There's $88 in admin fees.
There are $88 of admin fees. There's a listing behind the final order that spells that one out.
All right.
I am requesting a fine of $500 for the irreparable and irreversible damage done to the property as of this point.
Well, wouldn't that be the either he would have to get a clearing permit or he'd have to restore the property, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But
So
the damage done to the property is irreparable and irreversible.
well, if it's irreversible, then he wouldn't be able to do a restoration plan,
I
right?
think the ordinance is speaking about the age of the tree cannot be replaced on the property.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those look like pretty big trees, so I understand that part of it. So this would be more of a penalty / fine for removing the old growth trees that were on the property.
They were live oak.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. At this time, I'll close the evidence portion of the hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the unimproved property with parcel ID number 29-2S19-24-070-002-0070 is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, there has been a showing that a violation has occurred at the property. Specifically, the property's been cleared without evidence of a clearing permit or development order issued in association with that. Based on staff's recommendation, I will impose a $500 fine related to the removal of the old growth trees that county has set forth as irreplaceable and unrepairable. That the property will need to be brought into compliance within 60 days, which will put us at June. Or wait, no, it'd be August. No, wait, in July. It should be in July, right? 60 days? So on or before July 14th. Property is not brought into compliance on or before July 14th. A $250 per day fine will be imposed. $88 administrative fee to be paid within 30 days. Let me write. I'm gonna head right on the order in the other section, the $500 fine. And I've signed that order. All right, I believe this is our last case, Mr. Galloway. This is for Kingfish Villa LLC, case number 2501096, and the address is 27 Kingfish Street, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. All right.
That's correct. Good
Hold on,
afternoon.
you're not here for that one. You just. Huh? Okay. Well, I was wondering if you were. I was like, man, just last one. All right, that's fine. Thank you, ma'am. I just wanted to make sure. All right. So no one's here on behalf of Kingfish Village LLC. Officer Galloway, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Drew Galloway, Code Compliance Officer with Walton County. For the record, I'm submitting my final summary case report and testimony in reference to case 25-01096. Property is located at 27 Kingfish Street, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Parcel number is 3S-20330-340-00B-0040. Property owners are Kingfish Villa LLC. Property is in an unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the provisions of Chapter 7 of the Land Development Code. The violations cited are 7.02.01A, junk and litter, 7.02.02, overgrowth. Complaint was called in on January 10th of 2025, and the initial inspection was done on January the 13th of 2025. I was unable to make direct contact with the property owner, but violation was explained on the NOV and the notice for hearing, along with corrective actions. I made contact with the registered agent, David Pleat, at 850-974-2800, who explained that he would make contact with the appropriate party and have the issue resolved. I also made contact with a Mark Mihawski, Mihalsky, with Pools on the Gulf Coast LLC, who explained that his company had a contract to install an in-ground pool with Janelle White, but had to abate the contract due to lack of communication with the property owner. They provided a number for Janelle White that they had gotten at the time of the contract origin, and that number is a non-working number now. Second contact with the registered agent, David Pleat, revealed that he had attempted to contact the PO but was unsuccessful. An email was sent to what was given to me as Janelle White's email address, and Kingfish Villa LLC representative with violations listed and corrective actions to be taken on April the 3rd, 2025. As of this date, there has been no response. Excuse me. A notice of violation was issued on January the 14th of 2025, and corrective action required and compliance due date of February 13th, 2025. After several inspections of the property and numerous attempts to contact the property owner, responsible party, and/or responsible party, there have been no changes to the property. All noted violations remain to this date. Notice for hearing was sent certified mail March 25th, 2025. Property posting on 3/25 and SWA posting on 4/28. As prescribed by Florida Statute, Chapter 162, proper notice was given. I request the magistrate admit these findings to evidence.
So entered. What's staff's recommendation?
County recommends 30 days to bring the property into compliance, and fail to comply with the compliance due date will result in a $250 per day fine to begin to accrue.
And there's $88 in administrative fees.
$88 administrative fee.
All right, and so as of today, we still, I pulled up online, it looks like this is a foreign limited liability company out of Maryland with several member managers. Also looking.
David Pleat is a local.
Yeah, I know
registered
Mr.
agent.
Pleat, yeah. I'm just looking to see whether or not the taxes have been paid on the property. Yeah, somebody's been paying the taxes now. 2024 does not look like it's been paid. But... All right. Thank you, sir. This time I'll close the evidence portion of the hearing. I'll make the following findings of fact and conclusions of law. I'll find that the property located at 11208, or I'm sorry, that's the wrong address. 27 Kingfish Street, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, is in the unincorporated area of Walton County, Florida, and is therefore subject to the Walton County Land Development Code. Based on the testimony and evidence presented, I will find that there's a violation on the property, specifically the Walton County Land Development Code 7.02.01 and 7.02.02. Based on staff's recommendation, I'll find that the property, or order that the property be brought in compliance within 30 days. That's going to put us at June 13th. Should the property not be brought into compliance on or before June 13th, a $250 per day fine will be imposed. There will also be an $88 administrative fee that will need to be paid within 30 days. Did I miss anything, or Officer Galloway? All right, thank you, sir. We signed that order, and I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that is all of the cases that we have. I do have some orders to sign. I'll do those offline. So with that, we are adjourned.